Are you blowing bubbles?
Yes.
Emmett, where are we going? To the studio?
Yes.
So I had this realization the other day that I haven't really done any drawings, any illustrations for my son or my daughter. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do a quick sketch. Got out some Bristol board and started sketching. He watches this show on Netflix all the time. I think it's called Grizzly or something like that. It's about a bear and these lemmings, and it's basically like Tom and Jerry or Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, where they're constantly tormenting each other, and he can't get enough of it. I mean, he laughs and laughs, and he'll rewatch episodes over and over, and he loves the exaggerated expressions. That's why I liked Bugs Bunny as a kid. So I decided to draw him with his favorite characters, and yeah, it was cool. I did it in Copic, which I've never done a full illustration in Copics before. I bought a set of Copics, and my wife borrowed them, and I just never saw them again. And then to touch it up, I busted out my gouache paints, or the Opic watercolors, and punched it up, and I like how that worked. And I even got out my airbrush, which I haven't used in probably 5 years, and mixed up some paint and put in a little misty green in there. Yeah, and then got it framed up today. It's been a long time since I've done a full illustration. I think the last illustration I did was for my Strathmore video series a couple years ago. And this was fun. And I'm gonna try and do some more illustrations. I don't know if I'll do them on camera yet, because part of what I'm focusing on right now is getting into the daily habit of just drawing for fun, because I had lost that. You know, I talked in my last vlog about how I really just haven't been drawing that much the last few years. But honestly, today, I was thinking about it. The problem wasn't living in California, because there's so much great about California. The problem was we were living in a very tiny apartment, and there was just no room at all to be creative. When we first moved in there, I had my own office, and that was great. I'd actually been able to make a few videos there, but then once Emmett was born, that became his room, and I moved my office into the living room, and then set up a desk for Amber in there. But then after my daughter was born, it started getting really cramped, especially with Amber trying to take care of 2 kids all day long, you know, while I'm at work. So we basically downsized the office so that we'd have more room to have an actual living room, you know, for what it's for. So, and even that, we were just kind of cramped and always on top of each other. So I haven't really had a creative space to work in since the last time I lived in Lubbock. But being here in the studio, I can make videos. Like, I don't feel awkward about talking on camera because my neighbor's gonna overhear it, or the kids are screaming in the other room, or I'm gonna wake somebody up. So the problem wasn't California, it was just our apartment there was way too tiny. So I'm gonna start doing more illustrations for myself for now. But getting into the daily habit of it will make it easier for when I start doing it on camera. Because doing it on camera is much more complicated. Half the time you're thinking about the camera when you should be thinking about the drawing. And that is not conducive to creativity. Actually, it could be. If I were to decide that there was a creative way to deal with it, I guess if I were to decide that there is a creative way to deal with having a camera on the drawing, maybe that could be an opportunity. So maybe I should start thinking about that. But in the meantime, I'm having fun. I do a morning sketch every day. I do some people sketching after lunch. And I'm working on my comic, all while working full time, which is great. This is good. This is what I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And I did a drawing for my son, and I think he really liked it. So it is Thursday, August 27th, and man, it just seems like every week there's more and more just terrible news in the world. You know, whether it's another shooting or hurricane or just the news in general. It's almost traumatizing, you know? It's like every week there's just more and more things to be horrified by or just create anxiety and just everything. It's just so much of it. It's really overwhelming. I'm sure if it's overwhelming for me, it's probably overwhelming for a lot of you watching this. And it can feel very just like it's too much. What can I do when the world is just such a mess? It's so overwhelming. It's so big. It's too big. And the only other time I'd experienced this before, and it was not this intense, was back in 2006 when I had moved out to California to go to the Watts atelier, and it was so inspiring. Coming from living in a desert to being able to swim in the ocean anytime I wanted, and just driving up the coast, seeing palm trees and smelling that ocean air, seeing the sunset, and just people having fun, you know, and then being in the school with all these amazingly talented people and learning constantly from everybody. It was incredible. And then coming back to Lubbock where none of those opportunities existed. You know, there weren't other artists for me to draw with. There was no other professional cartoonists, especially. There was none of the things that I had gone out to California for existed here. And to make things worse, it felt like anytime I turned on the news, there was more stories about kids robbing little old ladies, or drunk driving, or drug problems, or like just all these horrible things in this little town. And it felt so overwhelming. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm a cartoonist. What the hell can I do about it? Should I quit my job and become, I don't know, a doctor or a scientist or something more meaningful? It kind of felt like that after 9/11 too. It made me feel so helpless and pointless and small. Like, what can I possibly do? And I remember asking myself, well, what if there was something I could do? Maybe the reason that there's so many kids getting into trouble and getting into drugs or doing all these things, that it's because they had no purpose in life. They had nothing greater than themselves that made it worth sacrificing and working towards. And I said, well, what if I tried to do something about it? And that ended up starting my little sketch club. Because I couldn't help everybody, but I could help some people. And maybe if I helped a few people and I did it in a selfless way, maybe it would inspire them to pass it on, to help others. And the result of that was, it worked. It brought hope to people that did not have hope. It brought hope to people that had never experienced hope in some examples. It created a family, a community of people that could encourage each other and challenge each other. And we made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I still make mistakes. That's just part of the process. I think what's different now than 14, 15 years ago is definitely social media, because things move so fast now. And the problems seem so much bigger because they're amplified. Sometimes it feels like maybe we need a revolution. Maybe I should quit everything and go do something. Do something, anything. But the truth is, that's not me. The way I fight is in my own mind. It's confronting my own demons, my own issues and insecurities, and doing my best to give love to every person that I meet. Because everybody's fighting a battle. Everybody's trying to do their best. And everybody's making mistakes. Even the people that you disagree with the absolute most think they're doing the right thing. And they're putting their whole heart and soul into it. Everybody thinks that they're trying to save the world. But we're not on the same page. They describe saving the world completely different from the way that we describe saving the world. Us versus them. But there's no us versus them. There's only us. We're all connected. What's frustrating though is that it feels like it's moving so fast that no matter what you decide to do, it's gonna be too late. It won't matter. But the truth is, I can't stop being me. I can't stop trying. There's an old story I heard a long time ago. There's a couple cowboys sitting around a campfire. And one of them notices there's a snake. It's fallen into the fire. And so he reaches in, he picks up the snake, and it bites him. And he screams, "Ah!" He drops the snake, falls back in the fire. And then he reaches down, and he picks the snake up again, and tosses it out. The other cowboy says, "That snake just bit you. Why did you try and save it again?" He said, "Because it's in the snake's nature to bite. And it's in my nature to help. He's just doing his job, and I'm just doing mine." And that's how I feel about everything that's going on right now. I can't control the world. I can't change people's minds. All I can do is what I do, which is love other people, show kindness, challenge people, do what I can. And it feels so excruciatingly slow. Like after 20 years of doing this, 23 years of doing this, trying to help people, whether it's through cartooning or writing or videos, I've always tried to help people. When I was younger, I made all sorts of mistakes. I got taken advantage of, I got hurt, I got angry, I got bitter. But I keep going back to, I'm just made to help people. That's all I think about. And the reason it feels so slow is like, it's like, because people are people, you know? You can't change people. I can't, like, it doesn't matter how much you try and help somebody. Sometimes they're just not gonna change. But I can't help it. It's just who I am. But when it works, it really, really, really works. It changes people. It sticks with them. And not just a little bit. It changes who they are. It changes their DNA on a whole other level. And that's what makes it worth it. In my life, I've spent the majority of my time thinking about this kind of stuff and doing my best to challenge, to encourage, to lift people up. And I don't know how many times it actually worked. And really, it's not up to me. Because if I did it for my own ego, that's totally the wrong reason for doing something. And people can smell it. If they're doing it because you're trying to make yourself feel better, they don't want nothing to do with you. And in my life, if I've been able to help 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, to the point where it changed them, it made them change their own focus, their own balance, where they stop thinking about themselves so much and start thinking about passing it on. And they devote their life to it. And at some point, they're able to change 10, 20, 50, 100 people's lives. It grows exponentially eventually. Because the truth is, people helped me when I didn't deserve it. People loved me when I was unlovable. And I think about that all the time. The people that loved me when I was unlovable. And that's why it stuck with me. And that's why it became who I am. So yeah, if you're feeling hopeless right now, feel it. Accept it. It's reality. Let it wash over you. And get back up. And be who you are. You know, there was a time in my life where I was so alone. Back in 2005 when I moved to California, when everything was so great and amazing, at the same time, I also had never felt so alone in my life. Alone, lonely, sad, depressed. Because I did not have love in my life. I didn't have love for myself. But I was trying. I was trying to be better. I started to journal. I started asking hard questions. I went deep inside of myself and I learned. I did the hard work. And I became the man that I always thought I could be. And it was worth it. Because now my life is so full of love and joy and laughter and all that stuff. It's incredible, really. I would love to be able to go back and give that kid a hug and say thank you so much for all the work you did, because you brought us here and it was so worth it. So I can't control the rest of the world, but I could control myself. That's the funny thing about selflessness. When you run across somebody that's completely selfless, a lot of times they don't even know what they've done for you. Especially when your life is just, it's so not full of love. It's darkness, you know? You run across one of those people that is just so full of kindness and love and joy. It's like a bird. It's just come and laying it on your shoulder. And you just feel lucky for that moment, you know? So I've always aspired to become one of those kinds of people. And you let go of the need for credit and appreciation and all that stuff. And it just becomes just who you are. Just surprising people with love. Landing right next to them. Whispering in their ear. I think you're really good at this. I think you're amazing. I think you deserve to be loved. I don't even know who you are. So if you've made it through this whole talk, I just want you to know, I think you deserve to be loved. I think you deserve all the happiness that you want in your life. And I think it's worth hanging in there and doing the hard work to get there. So until that time, until you've gotten there, I just want you to hang in there and keep smiling. Thanks for watching.